Welcome back. We're having a fantastic conversation with this beautiful woman who's so talented and has got all these things going on. We're going to try to get everything in the next segment. Libby, you just said that they changed the name of your radio show from Get Over It. I love that, Get Over It.
I like it, and some people found it a little too harsh. They were afraid it was too confrontational, and they also decided that I was a brand unto myself, so they changed it to the Libby Gill Show.
Well, you know what? Why not,
Yeah.
right? And when we started to do the show, I said, I want to have straight talk. I want to have this. I want to. Somebody said, why not just use your name, right? But good for you. Great. Branding. And you had to be told that.
Well,
Libby! Libby.
It's like, hey, you weren't supposed to point that out, Patty. It is the doctor heal thyself scenario. You always need somebody looking at you from the outside.
That's right. That's right. What did you see special in Dr. Phil?
I thought, you know, I worked on many talk shows. I've worked on everything: Jerry, Ricky, Maury, Sally, the whole, everyone that ends in a Y or an I. But when many of them succeed, and I worked on a lot of them that didn't succeed back in my branding or marketing days. And when Phil came along, and I was recruited by Paramount, they called me up because they knew my history, asked me if I would come be a consultant and launch the show. He was still on Oprah, and I met him. They flew me to Harpo. I met with him, and I thought, this guy's got something. I knew him from Oprah, and the question was, if you can believe it, can he stand alone? Does he need Oprah? Well, that's long since been answered, right? But it was really, let's distinguish him. Let's explain in advance how he's going to be special and different, and that was my job, and I think you did it pretty well.
Very, very well.
Thank you.
He loves you, that's for sure, right? And we love Dr. Phil. Yeah. We love Dr. Phil. You also, at break, you also told me that you're working on you're a specialist in websites and web design. And what are you working on?
Well, I'm an expert as a development coach on a site called peoplejam.com.
And what is that?
It is a destination site for self-improvement. So you can, it's a little bit like a social networking site, but it's not for kids like Facebook or MySpace. It's for adults. And you can go there and find experts and people that you can talk to online and ask questions and blog. I have a blog on it, and it's peoplejam.com, and all kinds of experts who talk about fitness and business and money and all different aspects of life.
That's fun. But boy, I'll tell you, it is, how do we keep up with what's going on?
Well, it was
staying ahead of the game is absolutely amazing.
It's the Wonder Woman syndrome.
I
wonder how I'm going to get it all done. Right. That's right.
Which takes me into your book, Traveling Hopefully. This really is a terrific book, and you know, I believe you read a book and you always find something in there that really relates to you. But there is a lot in here for all of us, because we're all reinventing all the time. I think the people who come to the desert especially, we're all coming here. We're not coming here to retire. We're coming here to reinvent. So in your book, you have 21 different suggestions, 21 different tools to use, and five major tips. Now, how did Traveling Hopefully, the name, come about?
It's a Robert Louis Stevenson quote. To travel hopefully is a better thing than to arrive.
Wow.
And when I was in college, I was going to be a therapist, and I was studying, and I finally decided I really want to work with people who are successful and want to be more successful. I'm glad people do, but it was not my calling. But there was a teacher who made us keep a list of quotes, which I thought was just a nutty thing to do as a college student, and that one just rattled around in my brain for years. And when this book came out and we debated the title, I said, that's what I've always aspired to do, and I think hope is the fuel for life.
I do too, and in the byline of how to lose your family baggage and jumpstart your life. For me personally, I read it, and I had a beautiful, beautiful childhood, but you know, there were a lot of little things. You know, you go to school, you know, you have all these records playing in your head. I was a little chubby, so always checking, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this, you're too that. So you teach people through different tools to get rid of these things.
Yeah, just reframe it. I have them look at it like, if that's your baggage, you know, chubby, put that on a baggage tag, just like it's on your suitcase, and now flip it over and reframe it to something that feels, not to deny the truth, but something that feels right to you. Maybe it's that you're, I don't know, what would you say? Healthy, robust.
Healthy, right, happy, you know.
We're so obsessed with weight
anyway.
My gosh,
I know.
I would so much rather be fit than worry about being skinny.
Yeah, I know. I love trying to be fit and staying, but still hamburgers, french fries, and Coke, please. One day as a treat. As a treat. I want to eat what Dale eats, my husband. My hubby, that's what he likes. I love him. In your book, you also talk about looking into different fairy tales and picking the character and then like rewriting it.
Right. Well, I was always a reader and always a journal and a diary writer, and I think that literature speaks to us. At any level, you can identify with a character in a film, in a book, and what I have people do is take a character that speaks to them. And for me, it was Jane Eyre, which is pretty sad. I felt like the put-upon governess. You know, I was the one toiling away for hours and hours, completely unnoticed, in oblivion. Exactly, the woe-begone. And I finally thought, if that's who I'm identifying with, there's something wrong. I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to change it to something much more joyful and active
and, what is it
and
now?
Hopeful. Well, it changes all the time, but Wonder Woman is one of those.
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm somewhere between Cinderella. Oh God, get the glass slipper, and I have Prince in shining white armor, and I have lovely life and all this stuff. But I'm Wonder Woman. I can do this. But
it's really accepting the fact that we're not going to get rid of the dark side. We're not going to get rid of the negative necessarily, but we can certainly look at it, reframe it, and understand that that's the balance that brings us the joy. Knowing the disappointment is what makes you appreciate the goodness, what you overcome.
The goodness. And finally, you conclude in your book, live to the point of tears.
That's a Camus saying, and actually someone sent me a birthday card when I turned 50, and that was on the card, live to the point of tears, and I thought, that's such a wonderful description of don't back down from a risk. Don't shy away from, you know, that thing that gives you butterflies in your stomach. It's always going forward. I think life is ever expanding. And as you said, people are out here in the desert not to retire and not just to play golf, which that's fine.
It's great.
But to find, you know, what's next for me?
Exactly.
What's going to push me to that point of tears? Joyful tears or sad tears? As long as you keep moving and feeling that depth, then you know you're growing. You know you're truly alive.
Yeah. Exactly. Libby, thank you so very much for coming on the show. We'll look forward to what you're doing next. When we come back, you will meet Kathy Strong and also Maggie Downs from the Desert Sun. Stay tuned.